Come on into the room. Oh, yes.
I've seen miracles and good shouts, and we believe with no doubts that they different when they step out. I've seen legs healed.
Happy Monday to you. Come on into the room. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully, this Monday has been well to you. Because it's been well to me. Oh, yes. If you're out there, let us know so we can say what's up to you. But until you do, we welcome you into Marriage Village Mondays. Welcome. You know what it is. We welcome you.
I can't believe that I'm back to the basics.
Oh, yes. All right, we're going to slide this down. Because you know what I say. I don't want to be forced, to have a problem with my dear brother, Jonathan McReynolds. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to do that. I want to show love to the people in the house. You understand what I'm saying? Who goes there? Ebony, hello. How are you? Good to see you on this evening. We welcome you into the village.
Hey, is that Tanisha? Hello.
What up?
Good to see you. Yes. Sis, my new sis.
Good to see you.
Hey, Miss Ebony. We met at GGG. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Is Ebony a Martin? Or is she just saying hello, Miss Martin? You know what I'm saying?
No, Ebony Martin.
Come on, cousin. What's up, family? We welcome you into
we talked
the
about
room.
this. We talked about the possibility of being related.
Listen, we do have family in that area that we do not know.
My sis Tanisha, overseer Tanisha, introduced me to Sweet Ebony. So,
what's up, overseer Tanisha? Is that overseer right
this
there?
This is TD, yeah.
Okay. Tanisha. Hello. Welcome you both into the village on tonight. We are so glad to have you with us on tonight. You know how this goes. You guys don't know how this goes, but you're gonna get introduced to it on tonight. You know what I'm saying? Tonight, we start out by asking a question. And I want you to wait for it for a couple moments. And the question on the floor is, how are you doing? Huh? How are you doing? How was your Monday? How did you praise God on yesterday? Did you put one up and put one down? Did you roll in the floor? Did you yell to the top of your lungs because you were just so excited to be in the presence of the Most High God? Let me know which one of those you were. And if you were none of those, praise God. It's still okay. Too. That's okay. A silent praise is still good. You know what I'm saying? Be you. But you know what I'm saying? You know what the question is, sweetheart. I asked them, but now I'm asking you, how are you doing? Huh?
I'm doing great. I am. This was last week. My sisters that are on here from GGG, y'all already know what it was. We had an amazing time. And it's just something about like flying that high, no pun intended, apex, but then coming back to work today, it was a little bit of adjustment to get back in. I wasn't tired, but my focus was not on really working. I had to press through today, but all is well.
Sometimes a press is necessary. Just got to go on and make it do what it do. Absolutely.
So
I'm about to say, lady overseer, overseer T. It's so glad that you're doing wonderful. So good that you're doing wonderful. Listen. Is that Ebony?
That's our Griffin. That's our Martin.
Our sister Martin. That's what I'm. No, I'm. What's
Please don't do this,
Sister Griffin. You know I do this. I just mess up people's names. I'm sorry. It's gonna get better.
I'm sure she's cool with Ebony.
It's gonna get better. I promise it will. I promise. But listen, my day. You already know. I work in the leasing industry, and let's just say this: it's never a dull moment on the property. It is just never a dull. I promise one day, when I'm no longer working in the leasing industry, I am going to do a podcast and tell all the wonderful stories that I got to experience while I was a leasing agent. I promise. These stories just have to be told. I promise. Do I have one every day? I have one every day.
Single.
Oh my
day.
God. Listen, so yeah, my day, I say this all the time, good people. I don't have bad days. I might have a bad moment, and a moment does not become a lifestyle. It stays a moment. You understand what I'm saying? So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go on a transition. We're going to get into this conversation. But before we do, there's a thing that I like to do. You know what I'm saying? And here it goes. It's Monday. It's after 9 o'clock. You see these two marvelous faces sitting in front of you. That can only mean one thing. You ask, what does that mean? Wait for it. I'm going to tell you. That means it's Marriage Village Mondays. Yeah. It's Marriage Village Monday. You understand what I'm saying?
That is the jingle. So get used to hearing it.
Don't be hating on my jingle. You know what I'm saying? The people, it's catchy though. You know what I'm saying? Elder Sister, she was on here. She would have tuned right up with me and said, it's Marriage Village Mondays. Yep, there it is. Okay, what are we talking about on tonight?
So tonight's hot topic is part 2 of what we did. We kicked this one off I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
What do you bring to the table?
Oh,
right. So in any relationship, so for our newbies tonight, we primarily deal with marriage and relationship.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you're a single person desiring to be married. It doesn't matter if you are a divorcee, if you are a widow or widower, if you are in a marriage that, seems to be thriving. This is the Marriage Village. So we want to see relationships win. In whatever season you may be in. And so
no doubt
this topic came about because, a lot of times we hear, our singles most of the time talking about, I want this and he better come with this and she better have that and this, right? Coming to the relationship. And so a lot of times we know what we want somebody else to bring to the table. So we're going to flip it on the people tonight. Well, last week and tonight. What do you bring to the table?
Come on.
Right. What do you bring? We want, gimme, to make sure I'm good. But are we willing to make sure somebody else is good? Are we bringing something to the table that is, that someone else would seem or see as worthy or worth to the relationship? Or are we just coming in to take? We're coming in to take. And so we are going to, kind of talk about that tonight. So the first week we did, we kind of hit 2 bullet points, if you will. And we talked about, the first thing is that relationships reveal what's in our hearts.
Absolutely.
So if I'm a selfish person and as soon as I get into a relationship, that selfishness is going to come out. Now, people may try to hide it. And, a lot of times they say people send their representative on the first date, right? It's not really who they are. But it's a version of themselves that they're comfortable with somebody meeting for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you right now, the representative is only able to show up for so long. And then the real you will show up. And so, again, if we are resentful people, if we are bitter, the relationship is going to reveal what's in the heart.
Absolutely.
All right. The next one we hit last time was that, a lot of us, a lot of times we all come with, I'll say this, everybody comes into a relationship with some level of baggage.
Okay.
You got to know what amount of baggage is safe to bring in. And let me qualify that. If I am still angry for the last 3 relationships that I've been in that didn't work out and I'm mad at all men, that's not baggage that's going to work in another relationship. That's baggage that needs to get dropped off, before we go in. Go ahead.
Reverend Music Soul Child said, I'm not to blame for the pain that was caused by previous cats. Listen, what we can't do is come in a relationship and hold someone hostage for something Other people did. And that might not even be, an ex-spouse. It can be a family member. It can be
a parent.
A parent. It don't matter. Listen, when we get into these relationships, we have to hold people accountable for the things that they have done and not hold them accountable to things that someone else has done. Because let me tell you what, if you do that, you're going to have some problems. You're going to have some things pop up and you're going to have to deal with it. If you, this is the thing. You have to make sure that you're looking into your baggage to check out what's in there.
Yeah.
You go to the airport. Listen, if their weight limit for your check bag is 40 pounds, listen, try to get on that airplane with that bag over 40 pounds.
You're gonna pay.
You're gonna pay. Just like you're gonna pay if that bag is over 40 pounds when you take it to the airport. You're gonna pay in relationship if you giving someone else something that doesn't belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so, right? Because again, we should be giving people what they deserve, not what someone else deserves. We have to show up in that moment with the truth of what it is. And sometimes those things, they lay in the background because sometimes it's harder to ignore the pain than it is to deal with it. But tonight, guess what? We're going to show you how to deal with it. Okay. So what point are we going to start with on tonight?
So before we get into the point, I know you made the comment, as far as not giving people what they don't deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Share for the people what we say about love. When you love a person, you don't give them
what they deserve. You give them what they need. You don't give people what they deserve. They might deserve you to go on and give them a good tongue lashing. They might deserve you to cut them all the way off. But when you're in a marriage relationship, it's not that easy. You got to do a little bit of work. So they don't deserve, you don't give them what they deserve. You give them what they need. Because if I have a heart problem, I don't need you to smack me. I need you to help me.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm showing up crazy, I don't need you to jump into craziness with me. I need you to love me out the craziness. Right. I need you to have the real conversation with me. I need you to show up as your best you. Me and you can't show up as our worst selves and think our relationship is going to get better with us both showing up as our worst selves. Somebody has to be mature enough. Somebody has to be smart enough. Somebody has to be diligent enough and patient enough to say, you know what? I'm not matching energies. I'm not going to give you the same thing that you're giving me. I'm going to give you what's needed in the moment. Yeah. I'm going to show up in love.
Yep. That's it. So I just wanted you to hit that point.
Yes,
love
ma'am.
Doesn't give people what they deserve.
No.
It gives the person what they need.
Absolutely.
All right. So tonight we're jumping in on our third nugget. And that is around our gates. All right. So what are your gates feeding your relationship? Because whatever you are entertaining, I can guarantee you're bringing that into the relationship. All right. So when we talk about gates, we're talking about the eye gate. What are you watching? Mm-hmm. Are you watching crazy stuff on TV and then now trying to make your relationship line up with what you see on reality TV?
Or what you see in another relationship that may be influencing what you desire in your own relationship.
Yeah.
You don't know what those people have gone through to get where they are. So sometimes you can be desiring something that is beyond where you are in that particular moment.
Right. That's it. And then the other thing is you may be watching something, you may, so we already talked about, social media is killing people out here, figuratively speaking. I'm going to get into the literal part, but figuratively, that comparison piece, watching people's highlight reels and then trying to make your life measure up to what you see in somebody else's situation. People are going broke, trying to, keep up with as it used to be called, the Joneses, trying to compare, right? So in relationship with the Lord, first of all, we need to protect our eye gate.
Absolutely.
And so certainly if the Lord is requiring it of us with him, then we certainly need to watch that eye gate as it pertains to the relationships that we're entertaining.
Absolutely. Because again, when it comes to seeing appropriately, you can't see appropriately when you're comparing your life to something that is not appropriate for your life. It's not appropriate for your relationship. It's not appropriate for where you are. It's not even ordained for your relationship. It's not necessary for your marriage. It's not, because this is the thing. A lot of times what happens is when you start focusing too much on someone else's stuff, you start losing footing on your own relationship. When you start focusing on everyone else, how can you look on someone else's relationship and pay attention to your own? You can't. Something is going to lack. Something is going to fall to the floor. So it's very vitally important that we show up, and when our eyes are fixed on the appropriate things for our relationship that we have decided to walk together in by choice, now we start to talk about the things that we need for this relationship, and we start living that life, blocking everyone else out. Because guess what? If, let's say, for example, you're going out with friends that may be a little bit more financially established than you are, and they can do stuff that you can't. They might be able to go out and buy a $4,000 Louis. You might not be there right now. So you can't allow what they're doing to cause you to look at what you have with your husband and say, well, you're not a breadwinner because I can't go out and buy a $4,000 Louis.
You better stick with Bowie. I let you get Bowie till you can get Louis.
Listen. And then for fellas,
or Louis,
you can't be looking at your homeboy rolling around in an AMG and you pushing around in an Equinox. Listen, you be glad with that Equinox that you got. You take care of what you have until God excels you and opens the door for you to get exactly what you want. Because this is the thing. If you are not there, this is the truth. You're not there.
Yeah. And a lot of times that comparison show, even outside of marriage and romantic relationships, it can show up like you said, in friendships. It can show up on the job.
Yeah.
Always, seeing another person. Okay, so here, and I'm gonna say this, hit it and quit it, right? You may see somebody else being promoted. You don't know what's coming along with that promotion, right? Don't let your eyes trick you into desiring something when you don't know the backstory. So
listen,
I won't wear that out. I know
you better get the story. You better know the storyline. Because this again, because it's easy to do, right? When you hang around people, what you hang around normally influences how you think and how you shake and move. They say you are your 5 closest friends. Look around you. Look around you to pay attention to what's influencing you. Because either you're being influenced or you are doing the influencing.
Absolutely.
But at the same token, when it comes to your relationships and making sure that it's balanced and it's doing what it's supposed to do, look at the people that's helping form the opinions that you have about a lot of things that you have. Sure. Because I guarantee they are influencing you whether you know it or not.
All right. Next gate, the ear gate. What are you listening to? What voices are shaping your perspective on relationship, on life, on anything? Who are you listening to? Who are the trusted voices? Do you have people of wisdom around you that can speak into your life? Or are you listening to gossip? Are you listening to criticism?
Man.
Are you believing the lie of the enemy, the lie that you have kind of maybe rehearsed because maybe somebody said something about you years and years and years ago, and that's all you've ever heard about yourself, so you don't seem to be able to grasp something different? We got to be careful what we're listening. Or are we listening to truth and wisdom and encouragement, right?
Okay, this is the question I always ask people. Do you have a pastor? Especially if you call yourself a believer, a follower of Jesus Christ, you should have a pastor. The Bible says, I will give you pastors after my own heart who will oversee your soul. If you don't have a pastor or someone that oversees the craziness that could be you, then you are leaving some real estate on the table. It's absolutely necessary for you to have someone that helps to oversee your life. It helps to guide your life in the right direction when you can't walk in the right direction on your own account.
Facts.
It's absolutely necessary for you to have someone that you can go to, that you give the ability to correct you, and that you give the ability to influence you in the right way.
100%. 100%. All right. The mind gate. What thoughts are you rehearsing? Because here's what I know. The more you rehearse something, the better you're going to get at it. So if you're rehearsing negative thoughts, you're going to be a great negative person, right? Yeah. But if you are rehearsing, I am healed, right? I'm not what I came out of. I'm not that negative situation. I'm not whatever those thoughts are that are not aligning with who God says you are. In those moments, you gotta really take a pause. Anytime a thought comes that's crazy, and yeah, I do get crazy thoughts, y'all. Anytime I get a crazy thought, I do pause. And I'm like, where did that come from? I need to identify the source, because I need to identify you so that I can deal with you, so we can get that dealt with, because that can't stay here.
The word says, such as a man thinketh in his heart,
so is he.
So is he. So whatever you're allowing to rattle around in your heart and in your mind, that is what you are and what you will live out in your life. So if you're not paying attention to what's going on in your heart, what's going on in your mind, you will act unseemly because you're not paying attention to it. Romans 8:5 says, those who are of the flesh, they set their minds on doing the things of the flesh, but those who are of the spirit set their minds on doing the things of the spirit. So what you're setting your mind on is what you're going to be set to carry out when you're doing life with others. And people can tell I can tell what people have their mind set on by what they do. Mm-hmm. I can tell what people have their mind set on by what they say and how they act and how they treat people, because how you treat people is indicative of where you are in your thought process towards people.
Facts. And so just the mind, we're very big on talking about the mind, because here's the thing. We can't control the thoughts that come to our mind. Sometimes they just come, right? But we don't have to cultivate it just because it comes, right? We don't have to cause it to produce a harvest, right? So that's why I say I like to use the phrase crop failure. I don't have to cultivate that thought just because it comes in.
I think you can get to a point where you can control what comes in here. When you start overseeing,
well, maybe I'll say you can't always control it. I just don't believe you can always control. But go ahead.
I don't think you can always control it, but I do believe you can get to a place where you have control over your thought life. I mean, because if that's the case, then when we stand on scriptures like Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, then that would say that's not true. So I have to say that we have the ability, as long as we're walking in sync step with the Holy Spirit, we do have the ability to control our thoughts, because we have the ability to set our thoughts, to set our mind.
So we can control thoughts coming at us or things that come toward us. I say I can control how I respond to it, but I can't control if somebody does something and it creates a thought. I don't think I can control that. I think I can, and I disagree to disagree. I mean, I'm not going to be in an argument about it.
It's not an argument to me.
No. I'm saying I'm not, because I will debate back and forth, but I choose not to do that tonight.
Okay.
I do understand what you're saying. I look at it more as though when a thought comes, I have the ability to say you're not staying.
Perfect.
So,
okay.
Number 4, healthy relationships require healthy contributions. If you want to be in a healthy relationship, you have to be in a place where you can make a healthy contribution to the relationship. So that usually happens when two people consistently bring a healthy contribution to the table. So patience is a healthy contribution. Respect is a healthy contribution. Honesty, compassion, forgiveness, like those are healthy contributions, right? But if he is constantly bringing patience, respect, and I'm being impatient and disrespectful, I'm not making a healthy contribution to the relationship. And so therefore, those uninvited guests are showing up at the table.
Absolutely.
They're literally pulling up a chair.
I mean, what are you doing to look into that? Are you looking over the things that you are contributing to the relationship one way or the other? Are you paying attention to how you're showing up in your contributions? Because if you're not paying attention to how you're showing up to in the area of contributing to the relationship, then it's going to be hard for you to govern how you contribute. Because a lot of times what people want to do is they want to give something to the relationship, but not oversee what they're giving in the relationship.
Steward.
You have to steward what you're bringing to the table. You have to steward what you're allowing yourself to contribute one way or the other, good or bad. Are you healthy? Are you able to look at the things that you're doing and judge appropriately how they're showing up in the relationship?
Yeah.
Are you able? We say this all the time. Self-evaluation is the best evaluation. When you can look at yourself and evaluate whether you're doing something good or whether you're doing something bad. If you can only evaluate what you're doing good, then you can't acknowledge when you've done something bad. It's an imbalance. So we have to be able to look at certain things and say, okay, am I doing this well? And that is also a place where you can turn over to your upline or your pastors and ask, okay, when you look at my person and how I'm showing up in ministry or relationship with even you, how am I doing? Am I healthy? Do I show up in a healthy way? Have them evaluate your actions. Have them evaluate how you're doing things, how you're carrying things out, and be willing to take that feedback back from them.
Yeah. Yeah. And because here's another thing that I always share. When I was a single person, clearly we both were single coming into this marriage. I had not birthed any children, right? My husband had children already. So there was a level of what would appear to be selfishness in my, on my part, because coming in, I didn't have anybody to worry about prior to getting married other than myself. I didn't have to take care of anybody else. I just had to worry about me. And it was just making sure that I was good. So as singles coming into relationship or looking to be married, you want to be mindful of the things that are going to shift once you move from single to married, right? Yeah. The care is no longer just me, and I'm about mine, but it's about now us and we. And if there are children involved, those children's needs do come to this. Now, I will say this. If you have adult children, that's a different situation.
Yeah.
I don't even speak on that. But if you get married and there are small children that are coming, you're blending small children, you might as well, you're going to have to check that selfish at the door. And now, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Not to say that you won't have opportunities to do things, have me time, as I used to call it, but that takes a back seat to the needs of the relationship and the marriage. And guess what? You're signing up for it. So you can't get married and then say, I don't feel like dealing with this. I don't want to be bothered. Consider that before you say I do.
What I was going to say is that sometimes that selfishness is not always intentional selfishness.
No, it's not.
Like if you had been in a 2-year span where the only person you had to consider was yourself, you're just going to unknowingly show up as a selfish person. And that's where both sides have to be aware of what's going on. I knew there were certain things that you were not going to be able to safeguard yourself from, because it was, you went from you and by yourself to you and 5 others.
Count them, 5.
You know what I'm saying?
4 children
and 1 adult
and a husband. Right. So,
and that can be jarring to the person when you are just sort of thrust into that. You're sort of, although it's your choice and you're making the choice to do it, it can still be a little bit, what's the word? It can still be a little bit challenging. Overwhelming. That's exactly the word. It can still be a little bit overwhelming when you go from just having to take care of yourself to now having to oversee a home for you and however many other people are in the relationship. Yeah. And that can be in being a spouse that walked through that. I understood that I had to give you much grace. Yeah. I had to give you space to grow. I had to give you space to, show up a little bit selfish, because that was the bottom line. You were going to do that. And there were probably some areas where I might have shown up selfish as it pertains to protecting the environment of the kids or whatever the case may be. So there were going to be moments where both of us, because of where we were and because of where we came from, because before you came into the picture, it was me and the kids. It was no one else. I wasn't entertaining much of anything else. It was just me and them babies. Mm-hmm. And so, but then I also have seen people bring in spouses who did not welcome their kids. And that was important to me. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna vet this whole situation, because I didn't want the kids to get penalized for being kids and being a part of a family that they had no choice to be a part of. It was going to happen. They didn't have a vote. Mm-mm. So, and I think sometimes when we get in those places, we just have to consider those things.
Correct. So we skipped over the heart gate, and I'm just going to just briefly just talk about that. So, we did the eye, the ear, the mind, but the heart. Are there any unhealed heart or soul wounds? Mm-hmm. Those things need to be dealt with. And again, it's not just, well, he broke up with me, she broke my heart. It's soul wounds go deeper. It's kind of like, it's those relationships that literally you change in a way after being dropped or harmed. Maybe it was a relationship and I will say, I'll give an example. Like maybe there was a relationship and there was a miscarriage, mm-hmm. right? And that person, when that experience was happening, that person seemed like they could care less about you. And then the relationship ends and you're left to pick up the pieces, not only mm-hmm. of the relationship ending, but everything else that ended along with it. Yeah. That will create a soul wound.
That's a trauma as well.
Yes. Or you were in the relationship and they cheated on you with your best friend, or those are soul wounds. Or you were in a situation where a parent abandoned you, legit. Like, so you don't even really know how to be accepted. You don't really know how to receive the love of the Father, our Heavenly Father, because maybe your natural father bailed. These are like those soul wounds that are in the heart and in the soul. And so those things have to be unpacked before you can move into a healthy relationship. And not just a romantic relationship. If you have a soul wound, an unhealed heart wound, it will show up on your job. If you're in a room and your boss forgets to call you to give input, and you have a soul wound that came from rejection, it's going to show up right there.
It's a trauma
in the conference room.
Soul wound is still traumatic.
Yeah.
And trauma shows up everywhere when it's not dealt with. If you have a trauma or you have a experience that deeply hurt you, that deeply impacted you, you have to get that dealt with. You need to go get some therapy, you need to get some counseling, and you need to get some Jesus. You need to get all three of them, because they all have their specific purposes and helping you get better for the next place that God has ordained and is desiring to take you.
Yeah. Because we can't, so two things. We can't change what we refuse to acknowledge. And we can't receive healing additionally if we refuse to acknowledge that something hurts.
No doubt.
It's not going to if you break your arm and you sit on the couch for 3 days with a broken arm, guess what? You're going to be in pain for 3 days. You're not going to get the help you need for that brokenness until you get to the place of healing. And so it's the same thing in these, when we talk about what are we bringing to the table? All right. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Get some rest. We're here every Monday, different topics each week, but thank you for joining.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But yeah, you got to get to the place where you can get the help.
You do. Because if you're not getting the help, then you're not being healed. And the goal is to get healed so I can be a better version of myself. I do not want, listen, as healthy as I believe I am right now, I also know there are things that I need to continue to work on. And that is something that we all have to look into, making sure that we do. We need to look, because you should always, I'm never okay with where I'm at, where I'm at, if where I'm at is not where I'm supposed to be.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You really have to challenge everything about what you do so that you can continue to grow. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's just the bottom line. If you're not growing, you are dying in that particular area.
That's it. Yep. All right. So, well, number 5. Let's keep this train rolling. Become. So when we're talking about what are you bringing to the table? What do you bring? Become the kind of person you want to be around. We want this, that. We want this level of excellence in a person that's coming into our lives. I think is a very selfish person that expects somebody to come away that they're not willing to be. So again, you want somebody to bring compassion, but you don't want to have any. You want somebody to respect you, but you're disrespectful as all get out, right? You want to be forgiven, but you don't want to forgive. These are unrealistic expectations in relationship, that you can come one way and expect somebody else to be better. Show up as a match. And even if you're already married, evaluate, am I a match to the person I'm in relationship with? Do I match them in respect?
I'm gonna say this.
Oh Lord. Here we go.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say
I'm going back to Buc-ee's.
Come back, come in at the same level or better.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Okay.
You know, like, because
Touche.
like, okay, you remember when we were talking about in Bible study a couple weeks ago, Romans 12, 13, I believe, 10, Romans 12 and 10, where it says outdo one another in showing honor. Like, so outdoing one another in showing up in a better way, outdo one another in showing love. Like, it is not like an unhealthy competition. It's a healthy competition. Like, I want to love you better. And because I'm showing up with a desire to love you better, that should inspire you to show up in loving me better. And as we're showing up, trying to outdo or push each other past where we are in those areas, we should get better in those areas.
Yeah, for sure. So the question that we're asking tonight, am I bringing to the table what I hope they bring, whoever they may be, whoever's on the other side of that table? Am I bringing that and more, right? Because sometimes different experiences, somebody may not. So for example, when we got together, he was a corporate IT professional. I was basically I was working at a fitness center at the Air Force Base. Let's just say the money wasn't matching, right? I was significantly lower. But what I didn't necessarily bring, I didn't match dollars to the table, but I matched values, right? Moral standards, spirituality, right? Bring the same or more, right? So that's what we mean by that. So it may not always be, well, they make it 6 figures, you got to make 6 figures. Now, if that's your standard, I don't gotta, no judgment. Do what you do, right? No, I don't have any standard. I don't got nothing to say on that, because here's what I know. Some people who have, I will say this. This is what I have to say. Yes, I do. I got something to say on that. Yes, you have earned through putting in your time to get to a level. And so I don't think you should say I don't think that people should say, well, if you don't make 6 figures, I don't want to see you, because you could miss a gym, right? Now, what I will say is we're not coming into the relationship and I'm just taking care of you. That doesn't even make sense, right? Now, if something happens along the way and now the tables kind of turn, you have an accident, you have something goes on, that's different. But you just don't have any aspirations to work, and I'm going to work every day. We're not a match.
That part I can go with, but I think
we're not a match.
When certain things are driving certain expectations and or desires, we just have to be careful. I think that, when we were coming into this relationship, it didn't matter to me what you made. It just didn't. Because to me, I'm going to say this, and it's just going to be what it's going to be. Money should never be a driving factor in the area of love, in my estimation.
And we are in the village. We're changing the narrative, and we're talking about godly relationships.
It should not be a driving force.
No,
it should not, because there may be moments where the pendulum switches and the person who was making less is making more. Those kinds of things, to me, have to take a back seat to more important things. Are we able to take care of our responsibility as a marriage entity? Are we able to pay our bills? Are we able to take care of our health? Are we able to bless our children? Are we able to do those types of things? Now, if you're doing that, I don't have a problem with that. But I think we have to be careful when we start allowing the culture standard to push narratives in this God-based relationship. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I think we really have to be careful of what we allow into our gates. We're talking about watching over the gates and making sure the appropriate things are in the gate and the inappropriate things are out of the gates. So I think when we have to govern what is controlling the way that we process through our thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So as you were talking, just the thought came to me, we should never build our relationship on unstable variables. Right?
Absolutely.
Because money, that could change, right?
Yeah.
Figure, shape, all that can change. Now let me come back around. I had a specific prayer to the Lord. I wanted to be attracted to the person he sent. I don't care if you don't think he fine, there's something wrong with you if you don't. Anyway, that wasn't, a certain look was not a requirement for me. I know people that have, if they're not 6'2", dark skin, bald, or light skin with wavy hair, whatever it is, people do have these things that they kind of build their hopes on. And I mean, it's nothing wrong to me if you have, just something you enjoy looking at, whatever it is. However, I wouldn't lock myself into it has to be this or it has to look like this. What I asked the Lord for was someone and I did it because I was specific. I said, Lord, I want to be attracted to who you send. Because to me, that's just dumb. If you're not attracted to the person, what in the world? There needs to be a level of attraction, whether it is to their brain, their mind, to their physical appearance. That has to be built in. There has to be a level of attraction.
Attraction can be overrated sometimes.
I don't.
I think that I think that when your desire becomes connected to trusting God and God giving you what's necessary for you, and that can, what you prefer could be wrapped up in that. But if your preference is not good for you long term, I just don't think that that's good for you, because we can have some preferences that are not good for us. We can have some there can be some attractions that we have that are not good. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to we have to balance that out with trusting that God will give us everything that we need in certain regards.
Y'all, I hear my husband, but if I wasn't attracted to him, this would not work.
Well, okay, so
I'm just saying.
So I think what I'm saying is okay.
I'm gonna tell the truth over here.
Okay. Hey, that if that's your story and you're sticking to it, praise God. Okay.
And I say that because when you attraction, it doesn't always have to just it's not just talking about lust and physical, but attraction goes beyond, for me, it's more than just physical, like what I'm looking at. Can we hold a conversation and keep each other's attention? I just don't believe the Lord would put people together that have no interest in one another.
I think interest and attraction are different.
I think they are different, but to me, they work together.
I agree with that. That's why I'm saying I don't think there's anything wrong with attraction, but I think that attraction has to be balanced with what's the word I'm looking for? It has to be balanced with healthy perspective. And if it's balanced with healthy perspective, I don't see anything wrong with attraction. Because I think some attractions are unhealthy for some people. And yeah, so I think when attraction is appropriately balanced, I think it's good.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, that's enough. We won't exhaust that. I respect that. I respect that. All right. So in this, because we're getting ready, we got about 10 minutes left, and this is part 2. So we're just kind of wrapping up the things that we didn't cover the last time. But another nugget: every relationship table is shaped by what each person contributes. So again, just kind of wrapping that up. There ought to be healthy contributions made on both sides to that relationship. You want to make sure that you do what you can before you enter into a relationship to make sure that you're in a good, healthy space, mind, body, and soul, right? If you're already married and you realize, like we did in year 9, that, I'm not the best suited in this marriage. I'm not offering my best. I am not in a good space. It's not too late to pause and say, let's get on the right track. So a lot of times you all hear us talking about our upline, Bishop Romy and Pastor Rosina Coles. That's Pop and Ma. That is our spiritual upline. They are our marriage upline. They basically help nurse us back to health. There are some other couples that got the party started, if you will, but we landed with Team Coles. And so get you some people, your truth tellers is what my good friend Abby likes to say. Find your truth tellers, those people that can tell you the truth about you and you still love them tomorrow. Because sometimes people want to give us truth, but we don't, we're unapproachable, or when they give it to us, we get mad and then we cut off the line of truth. Don't be that person.
I think
please don't.
You just have to, sometimes truth can be a whole revelation. And when revelation comes, sometimes revelation can be earth-shattering. Like when you realize certain things about your person that has been blinded to you, and now it's been revealed, and you can't unsee what you seen now. You can't unknow what you know, and now what you have knowledge of is going to require you to do the necessary work. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can find out stuff about yourself that you were so unaware of, because up until this point you hadn't had to be aware of it. But now I have to be aware of it. And now I also have to be aware of how unhealthy it was or it can be to my person. And that can be because sometimes when you have attached identity to these things, you have attached your desires to these things, and now you have to unleash and unhook and take your desires and your passions away from this thing that was unhealthy for you, that you didn't know was unhealthy. You didn't even know it was there until it was brought to you in way of revelation by your uplines or other people who you've allowed to shine the light on the dark areas of your life. That can be a jarring thing, but also we're living witnesses that you can overcome those things with the help of Holy Spirit and a true desire to do the work. Y'all know what we say, marriage works when you do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, you can't complain when it doesn't work because you didn't do the work. If you want your marriage and your relationship to work, you have to be willing to put in the work.
Facts. And so, as we kind of round this thing out, we may not always be able to control, again, what others bring to the table, but we can, we can control what we bring. Do we bring grace? Do we bring peace? Can we bring wisdom? Right. So there's a lot of evaluation that goes into getting into a relationship, or growing a relationship. And again, that is whether it's a romantic relationship, a business relationship, a friendship, whatever it is, it takes work. Relationships take work, and it's good work. It's good work. If you, what is it? You're going to reap what you sow. So if you sow into the health of whatever relationship you're in, there's some good fruit that's going to come from it. And then you will, as we like to say, be able to eat fruit from your own tree and share that fruit with others, as well. So take a minute as you're thinking about, what somebody else brings to the table. Just take a minute. We challenge you this week, as we kind of wrap up. What do I bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? Make a list. We can give y'all some homework, right? Make a list of the qualities. What do you bring, not just to the table of relationship? What do you bring into a conversation? Does what you bring help or hurt the relationship? And then what do you think God would say love looks like in that relationship right now, today? What does God say love looks like in this relationship? So let's be intentional about self-evaluation. As Pastor Joe said, self-evaluation is the best evaluation. Let's be intentional about looking at ourselves. Am I selfish? Is it all about me ministries, right? Is everything all centered around me? And I'm saying, look at your entire person, not just in romantic relationships. How do you treat your friends, right? How do you treat your family? Is it me motivated, me centered? Think about that. What do you bring? And does anybody want that? Does anybody want what you're bringing? Or will they pass? That's all I got.
All righty. Well, guys, it's been real. Have yourself a great evening. We'll see you back next week.
All right. Good night. Thanks for joining. Love you. We need some outro music when StreamYard decides that it's not time. I know, babe. I'm talking. The people can see that we're still here. So that's what I'm saying. We need some. Would y'all like some outro music? Would y'all like an outro video? I think that'll be cool. See y'all.